Okay, I admit this is a second take on this one. I was looking at trying to do my 10 favorite songs from the 80s, which was a little more difficult than trying to do my 10 favorite cars. I kept coming up with these videos that were compilations of stuff, and they always missed something, and some of them were 20 minutes long, and so I ended up right in the middle. This is 1985. This is Billboard's top 10 from 1985, and it kind of does cover a lot of them. The first one I tried didn't have any Madonna in it, believe it or not, and it didn't have any Whitney Houston in it, and you can't get through the 80s without that. I loved the 80s. I know a lot of people think that it was a waste of a decade, but I loved it. I graduated from college in 1980, and in 1981 I moved to probably the best place in the world to experience the 80s. I was living in Orange County, in Newport Beach, and it was hilarious actually looking back on it, obviously, because it was the epicenter of preppydom, and one of my friends was the walking version of the preppy handbook. I mean, everything was Izod shirts and polo shirts and topsiders and sweaters around your shoulder and all that kind of stuff. And another one of my friends drove the epitome of the Southern California cars from the 80s. She had a white Wolfsburg edition VW Rabbit. It was white with a white top and a white interior and white wheels, and it was kind of like every little preppy girl in Orange County drove one. And she still lives in Orange County. She lives in Huntington Beach now. But it was interesting because Orange County was Orange County, and the saying was that you lived behind the orange curtain because it was, at that time, ultra conservative and very clean cut, and that kind of wasn't quite all of me. So I used to escape to LA on the weekends and just kind of find what the rest of the world was doing. And the bad thing about the Billboard top 10 hits here, there's so much stuff that they didn't cover. I mean, a lot of it was one-hit wonders, but there's no Billy Idol in here. I don't know how you can do that. And a lot of things that I was into that just don't show up on here: Bronski Beat, OMD, Falco, Frankie Goes to Hollywood, Talk Talk. There's were a lot of really offbeat things that were actually kind of cool. And I'd go running off to LA on the weekends and find these underground clubs and all-night after-hours places that moved around every weekend, and you kind of somehow had to figure out a way to find out where they were going and what they were doing. And they would be in old parking garages, old warehouses, empty buildings, old hotels. They were just, bizarre places, and you'd stumble out at 5 in the morning and go for breakfast, and the sun was coming up. You'd drive back to Orange County and go to the beach for the rest of the day and sleep on the beach. There was a lot of songs, I think, that came out of the 80s that were total anthems in a lot of ways. And I mean, even now, you hear it and you get all jacked up about it, and it gives you all kinds of energy to go out. And then there was a lot of songs that were really kind of mellowed you out for the drive home. And it was funny, when I was going through here, there was a lot of movie songs, it seemed like, that I really didn't think about. There was all the stuff from The Breakfast Club and St. Elmo's Fire, and it was a lot of stuff. And it was, like I said, I thought it was interesting. A lot of people think it was totally a waste of time, but I'll bet a lot of people thought that about the 50s too, where they thought it was a lot of garbage, and now it's considered classic. I'm sure a lot of this stuff will never be classic, and I'm sure mullets will never come back, but hopefully that would come back. But you know, I still find myself, I can get lost in this music, and it always brings back some memory of something. You know, Tears for Fears. Whatever happened to them? Whatever happened to these groups? You know, they just, again, one-hit wonders and disappeared. Although it's funny, in Las Vegas, every now and then, you'll see somebody really obscure pop up doing a concert here. You know, and you can go see them for like $10, and they're still out there doing stuff. You know, you'll see them just, sometimes they'll group together as kind of an 80s revival thing, but you know, they still do show up and play little clubs here, so it's kind of funny to see the people that go to see them. It's also funny to see bands now trying to make remakes of stuff, and it's funny too when you look at some of the Madonna stuff. I mean, come on, it's just Britney Spears is just Madonna reincarnated, and you could say the same thing about Lady Gaga. So I guess it all just kind of comes full circle at some point, and everything imitates itself again. You know, the other thing I think about the 80s that was great was the videos were becoming an art form. You know, this was considered so radical when it came out. I'm not sure why. It was a lot of cartoon animation, but you know, there were a lot of cool effects that came out that I think did influence a lot of forms of art. I mean, video actually became an art form in the 80s, and I think music videos had a lot to do with that. You know, the joke is now MTV doesn't play music anymore, but you know, that's all they did in the late 70s and 80s. This interesting. I mean, who names a group Aha for one thing? It's like, couldn't think of a name, so it's Aha. And I never really liked this video, but everybody else thought this was just one of the greatest videos ever, but didn't do anything for me. You know, so, you know, again, it's like, I have no regrets about the 80s. Look, Whitney Houston, before drugs, I remember everybody thought she was just this incredible talent. It is a little sad to see kind of what she's gone through and what's happened to her, but you know, it's I think it's all good. You know, I'm interested in seeing what's going to happen, where things go from here. I think there is a little bit of lull in music right now, just in the quality, the talent, and some of the diversity, and you kind of gotta hope that something's gonna break out soon to do something a little different. I refuse to be like my brother and stay stuck in, you know, the 70s where he is. It's interesting, Ian Hammer with Miami Vice, I mean, he shows up on just about every major music score for every film in one form or another. I mean, he's always, seems like he gets nominated for an Academy Award for a musical score every year. I think this is funny too. I never really realized that Starship used Las Vegas as their backdrop for this video, and I'm not sure what any of that means, why they chose that, but they kind of cut it up a lot, but you still know it's Las Vegas. But anyway, you know, again, it's all the 80s. Some of this stuff I barely remember. This I barely remember. Phil Collins was around a lot. Some of his stuff I liked, but I don't remember this song at all. I'm going to guess it was from a movie. It sounds like a movie soundtrack song, but I don't know. But you know, it's fun. If you get a chance, I mean, it's easy to kind of get lost on YouTube. I used to love this. This is one of the wind down songs I was talking about, where it was like Drive Home. This was a good one to kind of get lost in. But yeah, it's kind of fun just to get lost on YouTube every now and then, and kind of figure out what you forgot about the 80s and everything. But you know, so I know this one's gone on for a long time, but that's the video's fault, not mine. And you know, really, I think one of the best things about the 80s is kind of this whole big resurgence where you can sit back and go, you've been rickrolled.